In the sacrificial area, in addition to the 6 sacrificial pits being excavated now, and the 2 excavated in 1986, we have preliminarily confirmed the existence of over 10 smaller sacrificial pits. More may be discovered in the future.
As seasons change and time passes by, it has been more than 2 years since the new round of excavation started in the sacrificial area of Sanxingdui Site. Everyone is expecting the excavation over 2 years to uncover the world buried in the earth and take them back to Sanxingdui. The breeze blows gently, making the Mamu River ripple in the spring. As the world changes, the wind never stops. Just like the people of Sanxingdui, whose long journey is also a return. When they come back again, 3,000 years have passed. It was just a glimpse at first sight. At the end of 2019, the newly discovered sacrificial pits number 3 to number 8 made Sanxingdui astonish the world again, attracting the attention of the world. Now, the 6 sacrificial pits have continuously unearthed thousands of precious relics. Every piece of important relic has refreshed people's understanding of the splendid and unique Sanxingdui. Just like archaeologists removing the strata layer by layer, bringing us closer to history.
This is a kneeling bronze statue. Now, it's almost cleaned up. So happy. It's a victory.
The past has shaped our present, while our present is creating the future.
Stop when I say so. Shake it, alright, up, slowly.
So beautiful.
Oh my, that's so beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Is it heavy? Turn this side up.
Yes.
Lift it up. Yep, lift it up a bit. You lift it up. And I'll pull it up. Chow, please hold it. Come a little closer. I'll lift it a bit higher.
We worked together to complete the excavation of the last cultural relic from pit number 8, the eye-shaped artifact, numbered 1083. It's the last piece. And it was buried quite deeply. It's an indescribable feeling.
Okay, all is over.
With the complete excavation of the eye-shaped artifact numbered 1083, the excavation of cultural relics from the 6 newly discovered sacrificial pits was coming to an end.
We can recall every day's work. On August 23, 2021, we unearthed a bronze head with a bun, which was the first complete bronze artifact we unearthed. In July 2021, the mystical beast revealed its first eye. A month later, its body was exposed. In August 2022, it was completely unearthed, so it took us a whole year. Every day we would take a look at it, lying in the pit like a big cute pet. It was the heaviest single artifact, so we removed it from the earth with dirt.
Clearly remembering the excavation time of each important artifact is the deeply hidden emotion of archaeologists. Just like those treasures buried underground, Even the thick soil cannot hide their brilliance. For archaeologists, sacrificial pits are like rooms filled with history, which contain the stories and recollections of the Sanxingdui people. A total of 17,724 artifacts have been unearthed from sacrificial pits number 3 to number 8, with 4,859 relatively complete. There were 2,290 bronze artifacts, 605 gold artifacts, 898 jade artifacts, 140 stone artifacts, 15 pottery artifacts, 781 ivory items, and 130 artifacts of other materials. Such achievements are enough to soothe the sadness of the parting. Before I noticed the beautiful scenery of spring, the leaves of the Chinese parasol fall in the autumn. The Sanxingdui people had dreamed for thousands of years. For archaeologists, the 793 days spent together are also like a dream.
The magic of Sanxingdui is that anything can happen. The creativity and imagination have brought many surprises to historical research and archaeology. Sometimes I got very excited, thinking that ancient Shu was incredible. Out of 12 square kilometers, only 0.2% has been excavated. The third and fourth generations of archaeologists will surely continue to deepen the archaeological research. That will be a wonderful future.
In this late autumn, they had to say farewell to the archaeological excavation shelter. Today, the field archaeology of pits number 3 to number 8 at Sanxingdui Site officially ends, and the focus will shift to laboratory archaeology.
I feel fortunate to have taken part in the excavation of Sanxingdui Site, but one thing that is even more fortunate is that I could meet you, who I think are the cutest people in the world. Thank you.
Sanxingdui has become more brilliant because of all of us. For me, being here at Sanxingdui Site made me happy. Thank you.
It was getting dark. Outside the shelter, experts from all over the country were saying goodbye to each other. All the surprises and confusion, sweat and joy, were like photos, frozen in everyone's mind, and written into people's memories about Sanxingdui. There will be a time for separation, and there will be a time for reunion.
There must be many more high-level cultural relics like this waiting for us to excavate. Let's look forward to Sanxingdui astonishing the world for the third time.
After 3,000 years of looking back and waiting, the Sanxingdui Site is still here, waiting for our visit. Now, these newly unearthed fantastic artifacts will lead us into the more mysterious spacetime of Sanxingdui. If cultural relics could talk, what would you want to hear? If time could go backward, what would you want to see?
If I could return to Sanxingdui more than 3,000 years ago, the scene I'd most want to see is the grand sacrificial ceremony.
I want to see how they lived and how they made such exquisite artifacts.
I would love to see the scene where they produced the delicate small artifacts in the bronze casting workshops.
And what unique methods they adopted to complete the complex combinations of these bronze artifacts.
I wish I could visit the bronze casting workshop to see how they conceived the making of such bronze artifacts.
The workshop of that time. I wish I could learn some of the points that are currently challenging for us to study.
After tempering, it became softer, which increased its plasticity.
In this round of archaeological excavation at Sanxingdui, a total of 7 golden masks were unearthed. Zhou Jie, a cultural relic restorer, was correcting the nose of the mask, but they encountered a tricky problem.
Ms. Zhou, please take a look. This red stain, We accidentally discovered that this area has a brighter color, and we suspect it might have been painted with red pigment. We hope to preserve part of it, but once heated, it might either change color or fall off due to its thermal conductivity.
At this moment, Ma Yenru felt caught in a dilemma.
Look, this area has the most and densest small gold beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 beads, and they are of different sizes.
The research and cleaning of pit number 5 were still ongoing, when researchers discovered a large number of extremely tiny gold beads in the soil. More inexplicable mysteries also emerged.
Their distribution is more complicated than we thought.
Clear. This is a hollow-out artifact. I just cleaned out ivories and gold artifacts from inside.
The exquisite patterns and intricate details made it difficult for us to guess its purpose. However, Sanxingdui has far more artifacts with shapes unique like this one.
It has horns. How do we explain the horns?
They must be a long's horns.
So is it a long or a tiger?
It's a tiger head and long body bronze statue. A combination of a long and a tiger.
Why did the Sanxingdui people make uniquely shaped artifacts? Like the long-shaped bronze and the tiger head and long body bronze statue, if they were placed inside buildings as sacrificial items, did such buildings actually exist? And where were they? Could they be temples used by the Sanxingdui people for sacrificial ceremonies? Let's return to Sanxingdui, a world full of unknown.
Is this a human face? The eyebrows, eyes, and mouth. Does it look like one?
While people's attention is drawn to those exquisite bronze artifacts, archaeologists have already shifted their focus to places that are difficult to see.
This process will wash away the sand and very tiny carbon particles. When observed under a microscope, we can see more clearly and better understand what type of wood or seeds they are.
Scholars generally believe that about 4,500 to 2,500 years ago, it was a typical period of catastrophic climate, characterized by persistent droughts and sudden floods. The Sanxingdui culture existed during this period of catastrophic climate. Archaeobotany and paleoclimatology allow us to more vividly perceive the passage of time. How did the Sanxingdui people face the world they lived in more than 3,000 years ago? How did they pour their wisdom, sweat, and passion into this land? If all things have no past, how could they have a future? How can the past embrace the future? In the blink of an eye, the time gate to return to Sanxingdui has opened. What kind of world will we see? When the Guiyuanchao people migrated here at the end of the Neolithic, Sanxingdui was a land of swamps and forests. This world was full of hidden dangers.
When the Sanxingdui people woke up in the morning, they should have been able to see the Longmen Mountains to the west. If it was sunny, they might have seen the Shizhuang Peak. In the city, they would have seen houses, city sites, buildings, and the Mamu River. Outside the city, they would have seen the rice fields we see today.
More than 3,000 years ago, the Chengdu Plain was still a land of water and marshes. Fruit trees were laden with grapes, melons, and kiwis. Yellow cattle, wild boars, elephants, and somber deer roamed the forests. Small cultivated lands are scattered around the earth in houses. Pigs, cattle, and chickens were raised around the houses. At that time, the Sanxingdui people already had a unique city.
The relationship between the city of Sanxingdui and the river is different from other cities. Other cities are usually situated by a river. But the interesting thing about this city is that a small river called the Mamu River runs through it. This was unimaginable in ancient times.
Why did the Sanxingdui people allow a river to run through their city? Was it intentional or purely coincidental? To understand the relationship between the Mamu River and the city of Sanxingdui, we must learn about the process of building the city of Sanxingdui. Archaeological evidence shows that the construction of the Sanxingdui city went through 3 stages: settlement, town, and capital. The earliest settlement was located on the inner bank of the Mamu River. Later, the Yuliangwan town was built between the Mamu River and Yaz River. Then, during the expansion of the Sanxingdui town and city, the Mamu River was gradually enclosed within the city. Eventually, a city of 12 square kilometers formed, becoming the largest city in the upper reaches of the Yangtze River during the Shang and Zhou dynasties, and the undisputed capital of the Chengdu Plain. It was during this process that the Mamu River was gradually included in the city.
A river ran from west to east through the middle of the city, dividing it into northern and southern parts. The northern part was the administrative and secular area, and the southern part was the religious and sacrificial area. The city was separated by the river, yet also connected by it. The idea of dividing a city into the world of humans and the world of gods is an innovation of the Sanxingdui people.
What kind of technology and confidence did they have to utilize such a river in this way? How did they avoid the floods that are now commonly seen in the Chengdu Plain every summer? If they could avoid them, there must have been some kind of technology, which could be the beginning of water conservancy in the entire Chengdu Plain.
The Sanxingdui people already had their own water conservancy technology. But is this possible? Even if it is possible, how can it be revealed through the archaeological process? To uncover the secrets, we must explore continuously. After Wan Jiao reviewed the history of the construction of Sanxingdui city, she also did some cross-comparisons of multiple sites in the Chengdu Plain. This led her to discover a strange phenomenon.
Sanxingdui was used continuously from more than 4,000 years ago to more than 3,000 years ago, and it was still used later. But Baodun was abandoned. Except for Baodun, cities like Gaoshan, Zizhou, and Mongqing were all abandoned. Why did the people of these cities leave their homes while Sanxingdui continued to develop and thrive? Why?
Archaeological evidence shows that Baodun was abandoned because of the floods. Archaeologists believe that Gaoshan, Zizhou, and Mongqing were abandoned for the same reason. However, during the same period, the Sanxingdui ancient city was not threatened by floods. Instead, it gradually grew. All the cities were situated between the Longchuan Mountains and Longmen Mountains. Would they differ greatly in terms of climate? What did the Sanxingdui people do right during the 1,000 years of the city's rise? Wan Jiao repeatedly compared the geographical and temporal distribution of these sites, trying to find overlooked information. Until a satellite photo from the 1970s caught her attention.
When I was observing the satellite map of the Mamu River, I suddenly found that the Mamu River actually branched off from the Xiaoshe River. It just passed through the most important site in the Chengdu Plain, bringing many benefits to this site. Did they master the technology of water diversion at that time? Was Dujiangyan actually the culmination of such technology? But the beginning of this technology may be much earlier than we imagined.
Due to the changes in the geographical conditions over the past 3,000 years, we couldn't find the possible water diversion facilities through archaeological excavation. What other ways could prove its existence? If the Sanxingdui people really had water diversion technology, then similar water conservancy facilities should be found in the Chengdu Plain between the time after Sanxingdui and before Dujiangyan. If this missing link is found, the entire logical chain of argumentation will be solid. In 1983, an ancient site was discovered at a construction site on Fengche Street in Chengdu. Archaeologists believe that the Fengche Street site may date from the late Neolithic to the spring and autumn period. This means that water diversion technology already existed in the Chengdu Plain as early as the early Sanxingdui period, and at the latest several hundred years before Dujiangyan. It is entirely reasonable for the ancient city to have its own water diversion facilities.
I finally found the missing link, after searching for a long time.
The discovery of the Fengche Street site in Chengdu provided a solid foundation for Wan Jiao's research. Another discovery in ancient texts further strengthened her confidence.
The term Dujiangyan actually appeared quite late. Initially, it was not called Dujiangyan. It was called Jianyan instead. Why was it called Jianyan when it was on the Minjiang River? Descriptions about this in all relevant ancient texts are different from actual maps.
Dujiangyan was originally called Jianyan. It puzzled Wan Jiao, because there was no river named Jian in the Minjiang River system. Jianjiang River was the upper reaches of the Xiaoshe River, originating from the Longmen Mountains. The Jianjiang River converged with the Yaz River in Deyang, and finally flowed into the Tuojiang River.
I wondered if the name Jianyan was a toponymic shift, or if there was another reason. Water conservancy technology, similar to Dujiangyan, existed in the Chengdu Plain during the Sanxingdui period. But what was the original form of this technology? We can continue to work on this in the future. Humans are not absolutely influenced by the environment. Our ancestors worked hard to build their home. As an illustration of the relationship between humans and nature, as well as a testament to the progress of human civilization, it is highly significant and exemplary.
From mountains to the plain, the Sanxingdui people braved hardships and dangers. No longer fearing the night, the Sanxingdui people could finally look up at the starry sky. All things originate from chaos and persist in order. In the spring, when everything revived, the Sanxingdui people finally saw flowers bloom from dead wood, and birds fly in the sky. Perhaps at that time, they had not yet realized that, in the near future, they would create a brilliant civilization on this plain.